Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel, and we are back in the Porsche Cup and we are at Fuji this week. Now this is a very famous track due to the famous showdown with Niki Lauda and James Hunt, where James Hunt famously took away the world championship from Niki. So this is quite an iconic track, and luckily I have experience with this in Le Mans Ultimate. So I'm oriented with the track, but I was excited to get my hands on this track and race it with the Porsche Cup. So sit back, enjoy this video. This was quite a competitive field and a really fun race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Didn't have a great finish or result per se, but the strength of field, not in terms of the iRating, but just the overall pace was solid, rock solid. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let's get right to it, folks. Welcome to Fuji, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to show the 2 laps in qualifying. So we did our first warm-up lap and we are ready to go. So this track, it is a very long straightaway at the start of the race, or at the start of your lap. So we come into a hard braking point, roughly at the 150 meter board. We're going to trail up just right, keep it nice and tidy, go out far left, use the full width of the track, and then we bring it over to the right here. Then just a little after that, 100 meter board, give it a little bit of a brake, trail off properly, let the car rotate, get out wide. Now this corner here is really tricky. You really don't want to go up too wide. I don't feel like I'm in the place to say how to take this corner properly. But you really don't need to use the brake, or you shouldn't have to use the brake. It's just more about releasing the throttle at the proper time and giving the right steering angle to rotate the car. Maybe going down to the third is necessary, maybe it's not. I'm not really sure. I need to go through some lap guides. So Sector 3 here is a really challenging and technical part. So after that long straightaway, we put it down to the first gear, we go through these really tight turns. And this is where it gets technical. It's like an uphill right-hander down in the second gear, over the curb, and as you can see, I almost lost the car, but I was wrangling together. Flip it down to second gear, left-hander. Got to be careful there. It's uphill, and then it goes downhill again. You know, we're losing the load of the suspension there just a little bit. And then this corner is all about setting yourself up to get maximal speed for this long straightaway. And then that's the circuit. It's not anything too crazy in terms of the length, but it has some extremely tricky bits, no doubt about it. So as you can see here, our first qualifying lap, we got a 1:42.5. Now I luckily did get some practice before I joined this session, roughly 25 minutes worth. So I was getting a hang of the car around Fuji. And as I said in my intro, I have raced at Fuji in Le Mans Ultimate, so I understand the track as far as just the geography and the layout of it. Not an expert at the track, but at least I got my bearings. I already got a pretty good head start compared to past videos where I've raced the tracks I'm not familiar with at all. So as of right now, our delta is just a hair above our previous lap. If you look at the delta above, that's my best lap in the practice section, which as you can see is a 142, just over a 142 flat. Really sketchy there. I was almost losing the car, but luckily we actually came out of that pretty decent, and now our delta is just slightly above our last lap. Looking at the display there on the car, and now it looks like we're up to a 1/10.5. So as long as we can string these last couple of corners, we can make it up. But it looks like we kind of fumbled that corner. We're about net neutral. Net neutral. Come out of the corner, and we are slightly better off than our last lap. So by the time we get to the finish line here, we're going to be a little bit over a 10, and our best lap time will be a 1:42.4. So not bad. Not bad at all, but the strength of field is competitive. As you can see, E1 there, Nico, he got a 140.6. Now when I was looking at the series insights, the top of the top were getting 140, 139.8. So this is a very strong strength of field. I mean, the top guys are within a half a second, essentially, of the best of the best. So here we go. We're off to a great start. Unfortunately, our best efforts, we only qualified in P16, so we're all the way at the back of the pack. So we could take a wide line, and we still got really heavy traffic, so we got to bear in mind our tires are cold, and we just got to be smart. Got to survive. That is the name of the game on this first lap. So as you can see here, Menno Peters takes the inside, and he gets past us. We go a little too wide going through this corner. We're just looking for an opportunity. Now, as you can see, now there's some chaos here, and some people are spinning out, and there's some collisions, so we're able to take the inside and take 4 positions. Actually, ends up being 6. And now we have moved up into P10, and now we're in a drag race with Daniel for P10. He just got a hair ahead of us here. And we braked a little bit earlier, knowing that the tires are cold, and we're going to do a little switch back here and cut that corner. Really nice overtake on our part. We're side by side with Daniel. Go out wide here to the right and get ahead of him. Now he's going to have the pressure from Leandro, which will be a blessing for us. Now we just need to try to focus on coming out of Sector 3 clean here. The tires, again, are still not warmed up. No need to spin out and make some stupid mistakes at this point. So I had to defend here a little bit. Daniel was looking for the inside, so I decided to not go with the typical line like I normally would. And that did ultimately slow him down. We built a little bit of a gap between us and him. And now we are in the slipstream, and the tires should be just a little bit warmer, not completely warmed up. It'll take roughly another lap to be able to truly push this car to its limits. But we're in the slipstream, and now we're braking at that 150-meter board down into first gear, and we go a little bit wide, but there's contact. Leo and Aaron have contact, so we take the inside. We really had to cut the wheel, and now we are side by side with Leo, and he's on the inside, and I kind of back out, hoping I can get the switch back, but he actually does a pretty good job with that inside line and getting ahead of me, so kudos to him. That was really, really well done. But Daniel is right there on our inside, behind us. We were looking at him in our rear mirrors. I don't really get a good setup for this corner. I went really too narrow or too far to the left, so I had a horrible exit. But thank God that Leandro was right on Daniel and provided a lot of pressure, and they had to battle for that corner, so that gave us a little bit of breathing room. So we're down to first gear. Leo and Aaron are back at it again, battling, and we're not too far ahead of them, so we're just going to try to stay with them, keep up our pace. Ultimately, my goal was try to get in the 141s because pretty much the average lap time as far as the top 10s, they were like 141 and a half, 141.6, so if I really wanted to make something happen, I needed to find that pace. So Daniel made a move on the inside. We take that corner a little bit too wide, but we utilize the full width of the track and try to get as much speed as we can. But now we are neck and neck, side by side with Daniel, and it is just a drag race all the way down the main straight here into turn 1. So it's going to be a matter of how can we beat him going into turn 1. He's more than likely going to block us on the apex as we're expecting that, so looking for a potential switchback. He parks it pretty darn well right there, so we're forced to go wide, hoping to get a good exit. He gets just a hair ahead of us, but we're going to get right behind him, utilize that steering stream, and we're going to try to take the outside line here, make it more difficult for him. We're braking just after 100-meter board. He's really close there. His rear bumper was really close to our front bumper, but luckily there's no contact at this point. So, no damage, which is a good thing, but Pedro takes a really wide line through there, and he kind of got close to us through that corner, but ultimately slowed him down. But once again, we got way too far left and did not set ourselves up for success. Got a horrible exit, and now Daniel is pulling a little bit away from us slowly, and Pedro is right there. So I go on the outside during this corner, and we have to be careful because Pedro's right there, and I completely missed my brake marker, and I drop down into P12. Pedro gets the lead ahead of us. And then I didn't see Leandro there to our right. We accidentally pushed him a little bit off the track. And we're keeping it really tight there. He tries to make an aggressive move on the inside, and he bumps our rear bumper, and he spins out. I gave him some room, but I also was trying to not make it easy for him. So after that really sketchy Sector 3 and everything that goes on there, I almost completely lost it coming in the second to last corner. But I was able to regather, catch the car, and luckily we have this long straightaway. It kind of allows you to just take a breath and compose yourself and think about what you really need to do. So now we're just going down this main straight. We got a little bit of space, so now we just got to focus on getting some raw pace here. Now, the next guy that's caught up to us is Jacob, J-A-K-U-B, spelled completely different to my name. He's right on our tail at this point, so we really got to lock in and dial in our lap time and our pace and everything. Pedro is really pulling away from us, and so is Daniel. We haven't really set a solid lap time at this point, but we've been trying to battle and defend against other people. Once again, that's ultimately just a pace problem on our part. Just didn't find it early on in the race. There's just a lot going on. So, hoping to make some progress here. So here we go into Sector 3, going down in the first gear. Coming over that curb, leaving it in the first gear, lets the car rotate. We short shift in the second gear so that we keep our traction. It seems to be faster. Flip it down to second gear and go over that curb just a little bit and just roll onto the throttle. Once you get just past that curbing, your third gear, and you flip it down to second gear, hit just so don't quite go on that curb. Let the car right out a little bit, back on the throttle, down in the second gear, and set yourself up for a good exit. Get back on the throttle as soon as you are confident and able to. And this was a really, really good lap. Looking at our delta on the display, we're at over 1.9 seconds, like 1.93. And that is going to lead us to our all-time best. So we are in the 141 pace, just barely under it, basically 142 flat almost. But, you know, you always love to see a whole number go down 1 second, let's be real. That's always exciting for a racer to beat their lap time and get into that next benchmark. So now the next goal was to get it down a couple tenths, as we knew we had the pace, or we had the, I shouldn't say the pace, but we definitely had the ability to get a 141.5. Had the potential, had the just talent for it, I think. So as we're coming out of this corner here, getting up to speed, Jacob is still maintaining his gap and pace between us, and as you can see, his best lap time is 2 tenths faster than ours, 141.7. So he's got the pace, and he's going to make an aggressive move on the inside. He misses his brake marker, really misses that. We saw that in the rear mirrors, and we were just going to let him swing by. And then we have another incident here. So I go out left tight to come wide, and then I pitch it back in, but I just did not see Dolev there. I genuinely did not mean to hit him. That was a racing incident. I think just getting focused at that gentleman spinning out there and pitching it back in, I just didn't realize he was there. So, genuine mistake, racing incident. Contact was not incidental, and I wasn't trying to cut him off. Genuinely did not realize he was there. So, because of this, now we're in P11, and we move forward a little bit. We're on to the end of lap 6. Now, Daniel is behind us because he was the one who got caught up in that incident. He's caught up to us. He is a pretty quick driver. His best lap time as of now is a 141.4, so basically a half a second faster than we are, and he is much more consistent than we are. Almost lost the rears there. That is a very tricky sector there. You can't brake too hard or trail brake the wrong way, otherwise you're just going to lose the rears. So Daniel was looking for the inside, and we almost lost the rears there coming out of the exit of the last corner, but we caught ourselves there on the curb. But because of that, we are going to get a horrible exit, and our straight line speed is going to suffer. So Daniel's going to come up on the inside, and we're in a drag race into turn 1, and he's able to utilize the side draft and get ahead of us at this point. So now here we go. We're side by side into turn 1, just seeing what he does. He goes a little bit further. I tried to do a little switchback, but he brakes essentially or slows down right on the apex, slowing us up. So now he is took P11 back, and we're forced to fall behind him. So once again, you got to find the pace. That's just the only way out of this. You got to find the pace. You got to figure something out. I could, for the love of God, not figure this corner out. I just could not master it. I really need to watch some walkthroughs of how the pros are doing. I think right out the gate in the Porsche Cup, my lap times are pretty solid. To get right basically consistently around 142 is not terrible at all. You know, this being the only race that I've done at Fuji in the Porsche Cup. Now, Sector 3 gets a lot of hate from the general public, I think, or the iRacing community, but I love Sector 3. I love how technical it is. It just requires much more delicate inputs with your throttle, brake, and steering. Otherwise, you just easily lose the rears. And especially the Porsche Cup being a lower downforce car compared to the GT3R. So it presents much more of a challenge. So we have a pretty good exit coming out of this corner, and we're going to get a little bit of slipstream from Daniel. John is behind us, basically a second behind us, so he's a little too far away to be in the slipstream. But we move ahead a couple laps here, and John has caught up to us. He's got a faster pace than us overall. His last lap was a 141.9, ours was a 142.2, and his best was a 141.6. So I'm going to defend the inside here, coming into this corner, cutting over to that curve, really slows him down. You know, I feel like it's really easy to defend that corner if you have the inside line. If you have the outside, it really kind of screws you. But I almost lose the rears there. Luckily, I caught it. I had quick hands, and now we're setting ourselves up into the final two corners here. Getting a good exit, rolling onto the throttle, don't lose our traction. Down into second gear again, pitching into the right. Missed the apex by a bit, we don't mind. And now we're building a little bit more of a gap between John. He's basically a half a second, but he's definitely going to be in a little bit of slipstream. And as you can see, he's only 0.4 of a second, and by the end of the straight, it's probably going to be more like 0.3. He's just going to have a little bit of a draft from us. Flipping it down, and we have a really good exit there. Well done. Rolling it on to the second gear, and our delta is roughly about the same as our best lap. So if we can string some of these corners a little bit better, we should be good. A really good exit there. I love that corner. I don't know what it is, but it feels just silky smooth like butter to me. I love the way that corner feels. Now this corner, that felt a little bit better there. I didn't get too wide, and I was more correct and precise with my throttle inputs. I think part of my problem is I'm just constantly like pressing the throttle, off the throttle, pressing the throttle, off the throttle. I just need to find a point where I'm off the throttle and then getting back on. Clear. Wasting too much after just going with the revving the car out. So once again, we're defending John here in Sector 3. It seems to be a pretty common theme at this point where he's right on the butt coming into that corner, entering Sector 3. But we're always able to defend pretty darn well and build the gap just a little bit. So as long as we're getting a good exit out of the last corner, we should be able to give ourselves a little breather, which we are. We are 0.3 of a second, or 0.6 seconds ahead of him versus half a second. We're moving ahead a little bit, and we're coming down essentially to the last 3 laps as we're finishing up lap 12. And John is still maintaining a pretty consistent gap behind us, basically half a second. Now I was hoping to break our lap record. Our delta was looking good, so if I had a good exit, things were looking quite pretty. But lost the rears there right at the end, and our hopes and dreams of getting a better lap time just got dwindled there. But the average lap times, or I should say my lap times, are pretty consistent overall. Like I said, I'm right around 142. I think it's better to be able to post consistent lap times than like have a really fast lap time here and there. So I really missed my braking marker, and I really dug into the ABS, which slowed my braking down. John was easily going to be able to capitalize on that opportunity. He took the inside going into turn 1, and now we're back into P13, unfortunately. Not too thrilled about that. Was really hoping to maintain that position, as we were doing a pretty good job defending it throughout this race. But all it takes is one mistake, and that's it. you're down a position. So, for the love of God, find the pace, Jake. I mean, find it. To be fair, got back from vacation. You guys can see I probably got a little bit more color than I have in previous videos. Just laying out on the beach, enjoying, relaxing, and just having some fun. You know, luckily I don't live too far away from the beach, so anytime we want to go do a little trip, it's nice. But yeah, had drinks and I'm recovering without a doubt from the weekend. So maybe my reaction times and judgments are not optimal. So we're going in here, we're finishing lap 13. We only have 2 more laps left in this race. Not going to get a top 10 unless somebody spins out. But I would like to get P12. That would make me a very happy man because this is a pretty competitive field. It really is. You know, the top guys are not too far away from the fastest in the world. I mean, they probably could be in those lobbies, but they would be probably in the position that I am. So, pretty happy with the progress. So far, we're setting ourselves up with a pretty good outlook here. Our delta is 1.5 tenths up on our best lap at this point. Can't really see what's going on. We're trying to focus on getting a good exit, setting ourselves up for the next corner, but we lost a lot of time through that corner, and we fumbled our braking zone. And now our lap time is not going to be that great. And John is slowly pulling away from us, getting further and further. Yeah, just got to put some more practice into this course, without a doubt. I wish I had more time, honestly, guys. If I could just sit in here and sim race all freaking day, or I shouldn't say all day, but if I could sim race like it's my 9 to 5, that would be the best thing in the world, because just my job takes up so much time, and there's only so much time I can dedicate towards it. You know, maybe one day I'll be able to have that luxury. You never know what could happen. Going into the last lap, folks. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. We had an awful lap. Terrible lap. And John is way up the grid. So all we got to do is keep it clean, finish the race, and don't do anything stupid. Gillian is 1.5 seconds behind us, and if we're to make a critical error like we were on our last lap, he could be right on our tail, and that's it. We could drop into P14 and get into the worst position. So, got to make sure we don't make any silly mistakes. Got to string it all together, tie it all together. So we're breaking this about at the 75-meter mark there, between 150. Making sure we get back on the throttle as early as we can. A good exit. We're building up the gap just a little bit to Gillian. And we're going into sector 3, technical bits. So don't screw this up, because this is where a lot of people try to do too much under pressure and they spin out. Short shift to the second, over the curbs, get back onto the left, flip it down to second gear, go over that curb just a little bit, roll onto the throttle, third gear, braking right at the end of that curve, and then down to the second gear, just hit that curve just a little bit, rolling on the throttle, and as you can see, Daniel spins out on the second to last corner. He ruined his race, and luckily, just because of somebody's mistake, we were able to regain P12. So that was the end of the race, but it was a pretty enjoyable one. There was definitely a lot of action in the first half of this race, but as the grid got spread out, it became a lot more challenging for me to just keep up with everyone. I just did not have the pace that they did, but I really enjoyed this one. This track is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it to anyone. And as you can see, our iRating went up 8, and you can't see the safety rating, but it went up a couple percentage points. Nothing too crazy. Folks, I don't know what it is about Fuji, but it's always been consistent in providing great races for me personally. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but just any time that I have raced at this track, it's been phenomenal almost every single time. So I really enjoyed this one. I hope you all did. And if you do like the video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel, as there will be more content coming up in the future. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care, and we'll see you next time.